Manchester United blowing the title race wide open at the Emirates yesterday. Arsenal now just 4 points ahead of Manchester City and Aston Villa after a very entertaining and busy weekend in the Premier League. But once again, it feels like all the big talking points are around referee decisions and around VAR. So let's discuss them in today's video. But if you're new to Tartan, please do subscribe, and also please do drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. As a small content creator, every single like makes a big difference to the video and helps YouTube promote the channel. So I appreciate the support. A massive thank you. I wanted to start at the Emirates, please, because I thoroughly enjoyed that game. As a neutral, I want to see goals. I want to see action. Last weekend, we got 1 goal in 2 games on Sunday. It was boring. This weekend, not the case. We've got 2 goals at St James's Park. Big win for Aston Villa, followed up by 5 goals at the Emirates. The night before, we had Bournemouth beating Liverpool 3-2, West Ham beating Sunderland 3-1. So the games on the TV over the weekend have been very entertaining and a good advert for the Premier League to some extent. What stops it being a good advert for the Premier League is the referees, VAR, all this controversy, all this analysing goals, and it feels like when you're watching games, it feels like they're just looking for ways of disallowing goals. It's not, can we allow the goal to stand? Is it a fair goal? It feels like, is there anything we can pick up to rule this goal out? It's decreasing the enjoyment of the Premier League, and we had it in pretty much every game over the weekend as well. But let's start with the Emirates, because Arsenal dominated until they scored. Man United getting in it, but just before half-time. But self-inflicted from Arsenal. A big mistake at the back by Zubimendi. It's just that his one was the one that got punished. Saliba made a very similar mistake earlier on as well. Nerves at the back for Arsenal on display, and Mbeumo capitalise. The big talking point, though, is around that goal by Dorgu. Did it or did it not hit him in the hand? Because if it did, the goal needed to be ruled out because of the law of the game. That if the goal scorer handballs it, it gets ruled out. I don't think it does hit him in the hand. I think it hits him in the hip, but I can't be 100% sure. Just like those who think it does hit him in the hand, I don't think they can be 100% sure either. I don't think there was any conclusive angle or footage which shows 100% it did or did not hit him. Therefore, the goal had to stand due to the on-field decision. And I'm glad it did. And it would feel... I'm able to separate the laws of football to what I want to see in football. I can appreciate and accept that what I want to see happen isn't always in line with the laws of the game. Even if it did hit him in the hand, I'd want this goal to stand anyway. And it's got nothing to do with Arsenal or Man United. It's just a strike. This is an unbelievable goal. It's a stunning strike from Dorgu. And I would just feel a bit like, really? If the goal got ruled out because it might have brushed him on the knuckle as it bounced up his body before he half-volleyed it into the back of the net. But stunning strike. Pleased the goal stood. I think it should have done. Arsenal got back into it with Mourinho, then Cunha with a fantastic goal. A first defeat at home for Arsenal. I think it's their 3rd defeat in the league this season. 4-point lead at the top of the Premier League now. A lot of pressure on them. A lot of pressure on them. But the truth is, they weren't very good. They struggled to break Man United down. There was a lot of passing, a lot of possession, but very little in the way of threat on goal. And I think Man United were the more threatening team throughout the 90 minutes. They just had less of the ball and less possession in the final third. But when they did have it, they looked like the team with a plan. They looked like the team that knew how they were going to score against Arsenal. I couldn't say the same about the Gunners. When they were doing 4 subs and Arteta was throwing players on, that's what it felt like. It felt like he was just throwing players on rather than doing much to change the nature of the game and to come up with something. I just don't know why there's this reluctance to just throw your centre-backs up front for the last 10 minutes of a game. I don't get it. It feels like a snobbery in the Premier League to some extent. You look at Spurs' equaliser against Burnley. I think more goals like that should happen or could happen. You know, the last 10 minutes of that game, I don't know why Arteta just doesn't put Gabriel up front. Put him in the box. Get Saka and Madueke whipping crosses in, but put Gabriel in there. Rather than just, you've tried to pass it into the back of the net for 90 minutes. It's not worked. 8 minutes of stoppage goes up, or 7, whatever it was. 7, 8 minutes went up on the board. Get Gabriel up front. Put him centre forward. because you don't need him stood on the halfway line, because that's all he's doing, really. He's receiving the ball from a clearance and popping it out to Ben White. It's unnecessary. I'm not saying put everyone up and have no one back. Just change it. Put Declan Rice further back, because, again, he's just stringing passes together from deep. Have him dropping into centre-back with Saliba and put Gabriel up front, because I'll tell you now, I'd feel more confident in Gabriel scoring an equaliser than Gyökeres. I honestly, I'm not even trolling. It's not in the title of the video. There's no clickbait here. But the last 10 minutes of a game, if you said to me, who do you want to rely on to score? The game's in the balance. It's a draw. Who do you want? I'd say get Gabriel in there and whip the crosses in. Far more likely to happen than Gyökeres in there and you're trying to pass through essentially a team with 11 men behind the ball. I just don't get it. It feels like Arsenal, with their set pieces, have shown that they don't mind being ugly and don't mind being that team. Just don't know why they don't do it in open play enough. Anyway, big win for Man U, impressive win for Man U, and a good result for the neutral, I think. I want to see a title race. If Arsenal win the league, so be it. I'd prefer they didn't, but if they do, whatever. I just want them to have to work for it. I want it to go the distance. I want entertainment. Last season, there was no relegation battle. There was no title race. Unfortunately, my team's involved in the bottom half of it, but I just want to see entertainment. Moving on to Aston Villa's big win at St James's Park, an impressive win for Aston Villa as well, a sublime strike for Emi Buendia. There's no coincidence that Aston Villa keeps scoring goals from outside the box. When you've got players like Rodgers, Cash, Buendia, Tielemans, players that can hit it from distance, I talk about that aspect of it in terms of get your centre back up, try and score ugly. I don't know why more teams don't allow their players to shoot from distance. And I'm pleased that Aston Villa do, and it's something Aston Villa encourage. Same with Bournemouth, and they're both up there when it's goals scored from outside the box. It's not ability. I expect most Premier League players to have the ability to score from 20 yards. It's the permission. It's the permission to have a shot from distance. Great goal by Buendia. Newcastle just lacking everything at the minute. Form table-wise, they're doing good. But it just doesn't feel right at St James's Park. Too many players not playing well enough for Newcastle. Bruno was a big miss, yes, but let's not pretend that they're drafted in nobodies here. They've got players. Ramsey was 40 million sat on the bench. They've got options. They have a lot of players available. They're just not playing good enough at the minute. Eddie Howe's not getting the most out of them. Maybe I'll do a video this week. One problem at every Premier League club. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'll enjoy it. For Villa, though, huge win. Big test. Big win. Good performance. And again, I don't think Morgan Rodgers had his best game. Didn't need to. Buendia scored and Watkins at the very end made it 2-0. Impressive. Aston Villa, they're very impressive. Moving on to us. We beat Sunderland 3-1. Thought Sunderland were really, really poor, but we were clinical. We were good in the first half. 3-0 up, 3-1. Sunderland beat 3-1 with a well-worked goal. But an important win for us. And it was disappointing that Nottingham Forest then won. But all we can do is just win our games and hope someone slips up. And it was a big test, home to Sunderland. I know away from home, they're not the best. They'd gone 6 away from home without a win prior to the game against West Ham. But let's not pretend we are a good team. We had 4 wins all season going into that one in the league. 5 now, happy days. A lot to do. But I think we're making a fight of it down at the bottom. And that's important. As for Sunderland, can't really say bad day at the office. That would be kind because it's quite consistent. These poor performances away from home, lack of goal threat is quite consistent. But they're still having a good season overall. And I think I'm not going to lose sight of what Sunderland's ambitions were at the start of the season, which was to stay in the Premier League. And they're going to do that. They're going to do that comfortably. But you can see where work is required in this Sunderland squad. I think their defence is good. I think the midfield's good. It's that attacking aspect of it. Another goal for Brian Brobby, but the wingers, Mundell and Mayanda, just weren't good enough. And I'm not sure they are good enough at the Premier League level today. They might be eventually, but today I don't think they're Premier League winners. Saying that, there are other options. Isidore, I'm not keen on him out wide anyway. No, Talby's not been great. He's been an underwhelming signing. Adringa's been an underwhelming signing. So they've got lots of options, just not really anyone on form at the minute. Moving on to Bournemouth beating Liverpool 3-2. Another really good game. Bournemouth going 2-0 up. Evan Nielsen getting his goal as well. Then Jimenez, and we're going to come on to the Jimenez goal later on in this show. I've got a few graphics for a change. I know, look at me. I've got 3 screenshots to share with you today. Jimenez is one of them, but I'll do it later on because it's required for context in the Brighton game. Liverpool done well to get back to 2-2, and then Adley scoring in the last minute. A very entertaining game, but it feels like that match almost like feels like Liverpool at the minute. They've got a bit of quality, but they're just not performing well enough. I've not trusted. I know they went 13 unbeaten prior to the game at the Vitality, but it didn't feel like they'd gone 13 unbeaten. There was a lot of draws in there as well. So this defeat, I feel like it's been coming. Fantastic free kick by Szoboszlai, but Gakpo was poor. I don't know why Ekitike didn't start. Wirtz was poor, Salah was poor. It's just not good enough from Liverpool at the minute. You do feel like Arne Slot will be going in the summer if he gets until this summer. It's just something missing. There's just something missing. I think it's squad depth. They sold it all in the summer to bring in the big ticket superstars, and I was one of them that got caught up in that, thinking, wow, look at the squad. Well, I say the squad. Look at the players Liverpool have bought, but what I lost sight of was the fact that they didn't really have a bench off the back of it. Not an unsurprising result, but an important one for Bournemouth. Brentford getting beat 2-0 by Nottingham Forest. This was just as important. Actually, no, scrap that. It was more important for Nottingham Forest, especially West Ham winning the day before. So pressure was on a little bit. That gap between us and Nottingham Forest was cut to 2 points before their game at G-Tech Community Stadium, where only Man City had won this season. So a big win for Nottingham Forest. And I should just stress, I've watched the 4 games that I've discussed so far, and I didn't see the Brentford Nottingham Forest game because I was watching the Newcastle Aston Villa one instead. But a huge win for them. Just a bit of relaxing for those at the City Ground. Brentford, that's a couple of defeats in a row now. So their good form is sort of stopped, but they're still having an alright season. Moving on to Manchester City beating Wolves 2-0, and I've seen a lot of praise for the referee, and deservedly so. His first ever Premier League game, Farai Halan. Congratulations to him, and big well done to him. And Pep Guardiola's called him out after the game, which I think is unnecessary. It would be the equivalent of a youngster starting his first game for Man City and the opposition man just saying, oh, he was crap, wasn't he? You just don't do that. There's a line, I think. And I know he's a Premier League game, it's a Premier League game, and he's a Premier League referee, so you're good enough, you've got to take the flak and stuff. But I don't even feel like it was necessary. But Pep accused him of making it about him. And the reason being, there was a couple, but the big one was he got sent to the monitor to overturn his own decision for handball, and he stuck to his original decision. Here is, I can't play the footage due to copyright, but Marmoush was in the box, tried to turn it onto his right foot into the box, and I think it was Mosquera had his arm out, hit him on the arm. Referee got sent to the monitor, and he said no. But here's the thing, right? How can you say it's not an unnatural position when the Man City arm, look at the Man City player, his arm is in the exact same position as the Wolves player. Why? Because they're both turning. As soon as that ball gets not back, both players immediately turn. And if you're running, which they were, you're running quick and suddenly you need to turn 180, your arms are going to come out. You are going to put the brakes on and try and turn. I'm pleased to see the referee stick to his original decision. Well done. Puts a bit of pressure on him going forward, because it's like, here we go, we've got a referee with a spine now. The expectation next time he's involved in VAR will be, we'll stick to your original decision then, referee. But credit to him, good win for Man City. It's been a little bit, it's not been great for them. Wolves have been putting some performances and results together. City had to win. Marmoush scoring, Semenyo scoring again, hitting the crossbar. Wolves hitting the crossbar too. Looked like a decent enough game, but again, I didn't see it. But an important win for Man City. Then we had Burnley 2, Spurs 2. I mean, we were a few minutes away from being able to laugh at Tottenham again, weren't we? That header from Romero, by the way, the equaliser, that is impressive. not quite a diving header. It's like a ducking / diving header. But the power he generates on it is obscene. It's like a bullet as it flies into the back of the net to make it 2-0. But Burnley are stringing draws together. I think that's 5 draws in their last 7 games. So form-wise, Burnley are becoming hard to beat. Spurs are becoming difficult to get a win. It's hard to be unbiased, okay? I'm pleased to see it as a West Ham fan. I'm pleased to see Spurs struggling, and they're 8 points above us, and you do just dream and go, can we catch them? Their fixtures are brutal. They've got some really difficult fixtures between now and the end of the season, and I think the term too good to go down, we've proven that it's a bit of a myth because we did get relegated with a really good team. But I do think it's true. The fact when people say it's not true, too good to go down isn't true, well, I would ask you to come to me with examples of teams that were deemed too good to go down but actually got relegated. I don't think there will be many. I think the West Ham one is the big one, but there's probably not that many other than West Ham. So I think I think that phrase is true. 99% of the time. You can, if you're listening to this, you can think of examples. Let me know in the comments below. Too good to go down. Which teams were deemed that but actually did get relegated? West Ham, I'll give you that because I agree, and I'm a bit biased here. But apart from that, I can't think of many off the top of my head. Moving on to Fulham 2, Brighton 1 right here. Let's get these graphics up then. Danny Welbeck's goal was ruled out, and it would end up being quite an important goal as well because it was 1-1 at this stage. So Brighton thought they'd taken the lead, and it got ruled out, and Fulham would go on to win the game. But here is the Danny Welbeck offside decision. So Danny Welbeck's the player in the yellow kit. So there's the Fulham defender's nearest point of contact, that blue pulse. And you can see Welbeck's arm and the bottom of his sleeve is in an offside position. And that's why he's deemed offside, because that bit is beyond the Fulham defender. So his feet aren't, his head isn't, his entire leg isn't, it's just that arm up to the middle of his bicep, if you like, is offside. Now, I just want to bring up the Bournemouth goal where they made it 2-0. Jimenez scored against Liverpool. And here's the graphic. So, as you can see, the bottom part of his bicep is offside, but it was deemed onside. So, let me just bring them up side to side. I mean, I struggle to see what's different. I know people say it's the bottom of the armpit, but I'm looking at Danny Welbeck and I'm thinking, well, I don't think the bottom of his armpit is offside. Like Jimenez, I think for what it's worth, I think they're both onside. I just don't get why one's offside and one isn't. If you can put in the comments below and explain to this numpty why they're both correct decisions, I would be much appreciated. And I've seen people quoting the law, which is it's the bottom of the armpit. So they take the bottom of the armpit and they do a line across, and that bit's onside and that bit's offside, right? So it's the bottom of the armpit. But when I'm looking at Welbeck, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like goals being ruled offside for things like that. But another fantastic goal by Harry Wilson and an important win for Fulham. It looked like a good game, though. When I've only seen the highlights, it looked like Brighton could have had 5 on the day. Mitoma had just been a bit guilty of being selfish. But a good win for Fulham, a good test for them. And lastly, it finished Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 3. I mean, this is just... It's the handball. So Wharton gets sent off, and I think it is a sending off, right? And I've heard what Glasner's had to say, but it's a red card for me. It's 2 bookable offences, but it's the handball. And I was just listening to Sky Sports News before I recorded this, and they said the question is, does he make his body bigger? If so, it's a penalty. Well, yeah. I mean. Not really for me, because his arm is part of his body. His arm's here. Go watch, you haven't seen it. His arm's here. It's not out there or anything like that. It's down by his side. Where is it meant to be? I think that's where his arm is meant to be. I think it's in the most natural position in the world. And I know the reason it's a penalty is because if the defender wasn't there, it would have hit the back of the net, and therefore it's a penalty. But what I found funny was on Sky Sports when they were discussing it, and they said, oh, well, it wasn't Sky Sports, it was the referee. When he went and had a look at VAR, because originally he didn't give it and he got sent to the monitor. Then he went on the VAR to inform the crowd, and he said that because it was an accidental handball, it's only a yellow card. But if it's an accidental, if it's only a yellow card because it's accidental handball, then surely that means that his arm is in a natural position. Because if it's not in a natural position, it's then a deliberate handball, right? And I guess the thing here isn't, is it deliberate or is it not? It's, does he make his body bigger? Well, I guess it's out further than his torso, but what's he meant to do? Pedro's like a yard away and kicks it at his arm. What's he meant to do? I just don't get how that's a penalty. In that case, when you're in the box next time, just belt it at the defender's arm and you're going to get a penalty. And say, well, he's made his body bigger, so penalty. And I just think this is why it's always going to, handballs will always be subjective when it comes to things like this. And this is my frustration, that it feels like every referee referees the game differently compared to each other. But sometimes you get the referee that referees the same game differently. Because down the other end, it hits Shalaba on the arm, whose arm's out here. It's in the same, similar position, similar thing, but because it was not going to go in the back of the net, it wasn't a penalty. I mean, it does feel like they're just making laws up. It's there in black and white. It just feels so vague and inconsistent. It's like, well, that's the defender in the same position with the same body, same distance from the ball. One's a pen and one's not. I just don't like it. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. I'm not a Palace fan. And I don't think, listen, it wouldn't have changed the game. That was to make it 3-0 to Chelsea. Okay? But then Neto, in my opinion, has stamped. I think it was on Sarr. He stamped on him, jumped over him, and the leg went back. He kicked it back. Clear red card, nothing given. And I think this is the frustration with the referees. It's just, I said it when I did a video about VAR last week, which is people can be tolerant to human error. What people cannot be tolerant to is human error when looking at a screen. You've got the monitor, you've got replays, and you're still making the wrong decisions. It's really hard to accept that, and it's really hard to not feel like it's bias. Because Dad in England he was the referee of the Crystal Palace game. His record in charge of Palace games stinks for Palace. I think they've won 1 in 10, and that was the 10th game. So there's been 9 games since. They've not won. Remember at the start of the season, Palace scored a free kick, and it was disallowed because Mark Gay was in front of the wall. It was him. I think he was the referee of that match. Hopefully I'm not misremembering and getting muddled up, but I'm pretty sure he was the referee in that game. A decision that we've never seen done again, where the free kick is ruled out because the player has got too close to the wall. If I was a Palace fan, my head would have been spinning after that game yesterday. That Neto red card, Caicedo not getting sent off, but Wharton did, the 2 handballs. And the thing is, it almost feels like, to some extent, you almost want to go, well, it's insignificant. Chelsea would have won anyway, because I think they would have done. But that shouldn't allow incompetency from referees. That shouldn't allow referees making incorrect decisions and not refereeing the game fairly between 2 teams, just because it probably didn't change the outcome of the match. I don't think it's much to ask for consistency. That's what we're looking for. And you ain't even getting it in the same game of football. Never across all 10 matches in the Premier League one weekend. Forget a month or a season of football. They can't even get it consistent in around the Premier League fixtures. What one referee gives, the other referee doesn't. Do you know when teams prepare for their weekend, they do all the analysis on the opposition? You almost need to do analysis on the referee and say, right, what's this guy like? What's he going to do? Is he going to give us free kicks? Is he going to give us pens? Does he hand out bookings? You almost have to really know the referee and adapt your game based on this geezer's lack of consistency, lack of common sense, lack of being good enough at his job, really. Frustrating. A really entertaining game of Premier League, a really entertaining weekend of Premier League football. Lots of things happening. Teams at the bottom winning, teams at the top, well, Arsenal getting beat. It's good. It's good for the competitive nature of the Premier League. But today, everything is dominated by referee. Pretty much every game, everyone's got an issue with the referee. It's an unforgiving job, but they don't half help themselves. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. What did you like or dislike about the weekend across the Premier League? What would you like to discuss? Get involved in the comments below. Don't be shy. I'll catch up with you all in the comment section. But thank you very much for joining me. Please subscribe. I'll be back later this week with my one problem at every Premier League club. Something like that. I'm looking forward to it because I can think of things off the top of my head for clubs already. Arsenal mentality, Newcastle summer signing. Anyway, I'm giving it away. I'm going to tune in during the week. I'll catch you in a bit.